All right, good morning, everybody. Second. All right. So clearly the trend continues to be up. And one thing I took note of yesterday, I mentioned it in the green room, and it's an observation of, as all patterns are. This isn't really a pattern, it's just an observation. And we'll see how it plays out here today. As we all know, the big news is the interest rate decision next week, tomorrow. It's also an options expiration. So the two, a news event and an options expiration, if, with a pattern like this historically would lead to a turning point. We'll see how that unfolds. But the observation yesterday was that this bar, after several days up, closed about at the high of the day. Probably, I didn't measure it, but well, I can see right here, probably within, right? Oh, what's a second here? Maybe within a penny or so, 68, a dime. So the observation is after prices have been going up like they have, and it started from here over a week ago and moving up. And notice how as it goes up, tail, tail on the top, little baby tail, red bar, tail, tail, no tail. And so the observation is that when I've seen this pattern, right, recurring patterns, most of the time within a day, that's the high bar because it communicates such confidence that, and you saw what happened near the end of the day, right? There was a little spurt. I guess you can see right here on the 65 or 60-minute chart. There was a spurt right into the end of the day there, a buying flurry. Like, I got to get in, right? It's going to explode higher, whatever the thoughts are. Anywhere it is right here. And it's right into the close. It spurted up there. And so seeing that, I thought, okay, um, maybe that's the high day. And of course, what we do every day here is share our thoughts and what's happening in the broader markets and so on. So we'll see, in the coming days whether that actually uh, turns out to be the case. And traders wanting to get in the last minutes of the day, and it held up well all day, right? It was just going sideways all day, and then got to get in at the end. Just got to get in, no more fear. So there's this little apprehension, even though it's moving up near the day's end where there's some profit taking or obviously a red day, but not once did we get a close below the low of a prior day. And so as that happens, you have to maintain a bias that traders are going to buy the dip. And when it never violates the low of a prior day, most of the time, what you're going to see on the 65-minute chart is a nice uptrend where the dips are being bought and prices pull back to minor support or they create support and whatever. It's bullish. So, moving up. Our first reference point of support is always a prior bars low in the time frame that we're looking at. So it's got room to go up. It's pretty far away, but I'm sure others are thinking the whole number 600, the idea of a blow off, maybe it's heading up there on the news. But I suspect if the news came out and there was a spike up wherever it's going to go with a pattern like this, it'll get sold into profit taking. Just common sense after prices. Here's support. There's no resistance. It's getting short-term extended. It's not climactic by any means. But the good thing is, if it should push up there, and this is related to anything you're ever going to look at, right? I mean, the further it gets away from what was resistance, the greater the probability of whatever the pullback is that buyers will show up there aggressively, what we call minor support. And it's so far away from major support, the pivot low prior to a higher high, a violation of the trend the probability is minimal, right? Unless there'd be some kind of a really nasty kind of a sell-off. So as short-term investors and traders, we're looking for short-term turning points to take advantage of, whether it's with a credit spread or a debit spread or just shorting. But we're not going to short this on a daily time frame. We go to intraday time frames to look for when things rolling over, and there's no sign of rolling over as of yet. Now, today's theme, my thought was after I saw this, was okay, it looks great. It certainly could go higher. It's a little bit higher, as you can see right there on the 65-minute chart. It could be a gap. I don't know about a gap in crap, because I don't think this thing's just going to crap out ahead of that news, because no one's going to sell it aggressively, right, until the news comes out. But it could be a day of rotation where profit taking occurs, and you can see this is pulling back a little bit, and it already has. And where's that going to rotate into? Well, and I'm thinking, thoughts, we'll see if they come into fruition, is that the Russell, which has been doing nothing, that some of that money comes into the Russell, and the Russell participates. It's in an uptrend, got a wide range bar. It went a little deeper than we like, but hey, you know what? It's like a fence is pushing on it. But yesterday it came back up a little. It went nowhere, and you can see this consolidation. So I'm thinking maybe this can start to bring up the rear and participate. We shall see. Also underperforming, put that in diamonds. December contract, hear me? So I haven't turned on my Ninja Trader yet, but when I turn it on today on the other system, it'll ask me. Like, so yeah, whenever it comes to option expiration, it asks me, do you want me, the program, do you want me to switch all your charts and minders to the new contract? And so today when I turn it on, I will say yes, and it'll update all of that automatically. Okay, so similarly, the diamonds have a nice wide range bar breakout out of a consolidation. That's bullish. It was an inside day. Yesterday went nowhere. And it's down a little bit, coming down to this support area there. So I'm thinking maybe this can start to hold up here and turn around. So, of course, we're going to utilize either a futures contract or, well, this is still on September. I have to update these. Sometimes in this platform, if I put it on F, it'll automatically update or go to a continuous contract. But so I have to update these. So support, I'm going to be watching to see if it holds this level and starts going sideways a little bit, and maybe it starts to rally. Right? Or does it break down, into the void? I don't know, but it's been holding this level, so that's what I'm interested in, where it's held before, to see if it will hold there again. So let's do this. Well, just talking here. All I have to do is do Z, enter, and we can put the new contract there. Okay. So here it is. It's moving up. It's already starting to pull back a little bit. So here's a little, like a 1, 2, 3 with a bottoming tail bar. It's nice. It broke out, and it's already back down to the bottom of the wide range bar on the 65-minute chart. So if we were to compress this, it's going to look like a bearish 180 or a topping tail, on this time frame. So far here, it's just a narrow range bar. And it could hold this and go back up. But as I said earlier, as we look at a higher time frame, which provides us with our bias, does it either retrace deeply into a bar, which is one of the things that we'll be looking for, probably not going to happen today, tomorrow, right, Thursday, deeply into a prior bar and close into it, or does it close under a prior day's low? And so that one rule keeps us in check as to thinking, oh, that's moved up too far. It's gotta come down. And you start doing stupid things like shorting, topping tails on a 5-minute chart, and you get your head handed to you. And so it's still strong. My observation of where it closed, and this is a wide range bar, maybe within a day or so, you'll see if this reaches a peak, which just being extended from this support area would make sense as well. Right? All right. So just going nowhere, right? Just marking time. And I had nothing, they're all just marking time here. They're just waiting. Bitcoin, it's made this bottom. Obviously, that was a big, nasty red bar. And this is what I'm talking about, retracements, right? From one bar into a next. This is the essence of bar by bar analysis. It's like we look at this bar and it's like, man, that's ugly. That gave me a 1, 2, 3 bearish and it's going lower. Well, the next bar closes deep into that bar and then it starts going sideways. So that bearish bias starts to dissipate and starts thinking, hey, go up. And that was the video I made, I think it was on this day, where I showed the 65-minute chart, making a short-term bottom. It was going to go up. Now, going sideways over here, if that's what's in the cards, and this takes this out, this should be off to the races up here. So set an alert on this, or set an alert on GBTC or whatever else is related to this, because if it can clear these highs, and it's nice that it's going sideways here at that resistance area, and it supports that. If it takes that out, it could go up. All right. Gold is up a little bit. Not a big deal. It went up yesterday a bit. I mean, that's bullish as hell to get extended as this was, going sideways and still, not pull back. Now, with this kind of a pattern, and this being a range expansion bar, this becomes a critical bars low because it based, the range expanded, it closed near the high, and that says it's going higher. But if it breaks that bar's low, it's going to be a short-term shock pattern. So set an alert. All right. Crude oil, it's up here a little bit. There's some news. I saw something go across the ticker this morning about oil and concerns about Russia, whatever. But it's holding here. There's a breakdown. And it's different, but similar in that you had a bearish event, another bearish event, and it's not dropping. It's not going up, right, in any significant way, but it's not going down after these breakdowns. So might this be forming a bottom? Maybe. It's an observation. It's nothing I would look to place a trade on other than maybe intraday with that kind of a pattern. But it's a little too erratic. Then we'll see. Silver still looks amazing. Consolidation, move up. It's stalled here. And let's just do spiders and SPX here. So that was at a narrow bar, but it gapped up. It held on to it. It went nowhere. It closed near the high. You see it's already beginning to pull back here. Pre-market, a little profit taking, not a big deal. Same analysis. The analysis is always the same. It's universal. It doesn't matter what we're trading. Does it close below a prior day's low? And overzealous. What is the terminology that Greenspan used? Irrational exuberance. I wouldn't necessarily call this irrational exuberance, but gap up, gap up, gap up, gap up. I think that was kind of unchanged. Another gap up. At some point, prices begin to pull back, and the more bars it goes up away from any support, the greater the probability of a pullback. All right, there's a peek at the dollar, and I'm gonna. So again, it's threatening to break down, of course, as it should, but it's still holding up amazingly well. But it looks like it's going to break these lows. Let's see. It should have broken already, but it hasn't, based on this drop. And it continues to go down, right? The 13-week. So everybody knows they're going to do a quarter point. If it doesn't, they're all going in front of the firing squad. That's for sure. could it be more? You know, but look, the charts say they're going to cut, and it's going to happen. It's a given. All right, SPX. There's the numbers, and I wish it was above 50. It would be a no-brainer. But if the markets, things should perk up and start moving up, anything above 50 would be a no-brainer, especially ahead of the news. And look, this is well below. If it starts to sell off, and these are the extreme levels, it's below that prior bar's low. Um, ahead of the news, it's not. I believe it's not going down there today. Gasoline futures. What is that? HG? I forget what gasoline futures are. I never even thought to trade gasoline futures. I don't know the symbol for gasoline futures. If anybody knows, I'll bring it up. All right, so let's look around. And so interest rates, whatever they are. So, the theme today, as I see it, is the markets that have been moving up likely stall, retract a little bit. Maybe money flows into the Dow and the Russell. We'll see if that happens. But everybody's waiting for tomorrow's news. All yours, Dan. RB. Hold on. Mhm. Not in this symbol. Not in this one, Alex.
Yeah, RB does sound familiar to me.
I typed it wrong, maybe. I don't know.
I think I heard on the news that we had nine closing. I don't know if it was closing new highs or just positive days, whatever. Look at this. Just incredible. And I said in the green room yesterday, based on this 15-minute closing chart, I said there's absolutely nothing to suggest this is not going to go up more. And of course, we got the news event, internals aren't cooked yet, but this is an amazingly bullish pattern. So we're just going to trade it. And, I was thinking, Greg, that, we got a ton of opens. And yeah, we'll give a disclaimer ahead of the meeting, but I, I don't know if the meeting is going to be to sell the event or the meeting is going to be the catalyst to make it rip for another day or two. So I'm gonna be holding, a lot of my merchandise, but I'll send out a note tomorrow. But yeah, that's been on my list. I'm waiting for a closing bullish turn. I actually was short $5 puts last week. That expired at full profit. It's on my list. I'm just not ready. Alarms here, like always. Uber closing breakout. So I want to pull back for directional, but like I said, we can do a put spread. Our little Roadrunner for long. We got, I think we got 30% gain right now in a week. That looks great. Expedia, I said sell another third pre-market up here. No, we bought that. Looks great. Lab. Am I in this? The room's in it. I had an up alarm go. Yeah, I'm in Plab. Okay, I haven't ordered a sell pre-market up here, and I'm not filled. But that looks great. BTU we bought yesterday afternoon. Look at this. Look at our entry here. It was a bull flag, 1, 2, 3, 4. And look where we got in. It could not have been any more perfect. So looks great. BTU. And it came from one of you all, Thomas or whomever. And I love getting trades from you all. Click, uh, up alarm. I said sell a half pre-market. Almost a $2 gap. Take it. And we'll sit on half. SAIA, Sam, this is yours. Beautiful consolidation. Look, it's resting. It's resting. Daily, weekly. You got 20 MA went flat, and now it's parallel with the 50. Looks fantastic. It's my only hesitancy is the Fed because we already have a ton of opens. But it looks great. I think that's all the alarms. AAP we bought yesterday. Another just beautiful breakout. So most of our opens look fantastic. Earnings here. Where are all the alarms? Earnings. Still, I don't know. Wow, that's strange. I don't see any prints pre-market. Shows it here at 242, but we'll come back to it. Hitty. Bullish daily, weekly, monthly. I was trying to sell $3 puts yesterday, did not get filled. Play getting whacked. So I'm going to put this into my category of nasty, ugly gap, but it's a big gap. So I'm going to keep an eye on it for a put spread if it can get its sea legs back. RLGT 634. Wow, that's a nasty gap. Oh, wow, that's what you call a bull trap. Every single bull that bought this into earnings is now has a big old headache on their hands. Headache and loss. 237. Monster gap. So actually I'm going to put this in the category of 30-minute low, maybe call spread. Those are all the earnings. Let's just now see what I got on miscellaneous stuff. Kemper. Rolling over, daily, weekly, day trade short, call spread, LHX, military stock, continuation breakout, bullish weekly. UEC would be a great 1, 2, 3. I know one of you mentioned it in the green room yesterday. I said I liked it. I think I said buy a third yesterday. Bots breakout. CMG, there was some news. I forget what it was, but that's still a nasty downtrend. Oh, Hershey got an upgrade, which in and of itself, I don't give two hoots about. All I do is use that as an opportunity to look at the chart, gapping up to 192. So it's a gap breakout. So I like this for a put spread on a pullback. Try to do the 185s for Friday. Hood. That's some type of news about them wanting to sell private, have an opportunity for mom and pops to buy private companies, which I think is a great idea. This igniting gap was not earnings. It was announcement being added to the S&P 500. But so let's watch those for a buy setup. Ideally, one or two more down days we get through the Fed, and then that would be perfect on Thursday to buy over Wednesday's high. Same with Oscar here, but that's actually gapping down. I think I read they were maybe doing a secondary offering or something earlier. Like Oracle has some news, some positive news if the TikTok deal goes through. But this could end up to be a condor. meaning we sell out of the money put, out of the money call, spread. That's a condor. All right, I was bidding or selling something pre-market. My bell went off, so I'm getting billed on something. BMNR, kind of a minor little 1, 2, 3, but look at the weekly. Blasted to 160, trade that bounce, and now we got a retest, higher low retest. So daily, weekly, look great on that. I posted it as a put spread and directional. Nuke, sloppy. Yeah, it's too sloppy. Now look at Sophie, Sam's girlfriend, had a closing breakout yesterday. So that's a long walk. On AMR, I posted closing breakout. Kind of a sloppy W bottom, but look at the weekly. That's bullish as can be. Wide range igniting, and now it's kind of a cup and handle curl with a void. That looks great. All right, now we go up this way. TWO. This was Sam's over yesterday's high. We're going to buy call options. Actually, I think that's what I just got filled on. I was bidding pre-market 10 spot 11. I got filled on 18 shares. Yeah, I'm bidding 10. I got filled on 18 shares. So there's only 161 volume pre-market. Roblox, breakout, dash. Already broke out, going sideways. Hims, I was hoping for 1, 2, 3. Put spread idea. There's Sam's Sam's Lulu is Sam, you might have to go to the doctor and ask him for some help. Your Lulu's having a hard time. You know what I'm saying? MGM, I was watching for a turn, climb major support. My alarm went off in the morning yesterday. And then I distracted with other things, but that worked well. Put spread idea. Curve, continuation pattern, but that's not ready. I'd like to go like it to, and I got alarms going off here now. LA checks looks great. Alex, that's yours. Maybe 5-minute high or some type of pullback. Sam, your SAIA went off. AMR. AMR, let's do 5-minute high for a half. I just got filled on something else. AMR, half lot. 5-minute high as a go. LVS, low alarm. We have a call spread. Let's tighten stop here. About 53.22. Got a lot of alarms here. Greg, I had an up alarm on silver go off. Do you want to look at it and consider selling a third? We have a full lot.
On what?
Silver. That's still,
ETF.
yeah, my up alarm went off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I say we sell a third.
I am is wild.
UBT, low alarm. I got filled in my TW, QBC, lab. Maybe that's what I got filled on pre-market. I don't know. I had a couple bells go off. No, I did not get filled. I was trying to sell a 23 spot, 34.
Long Russell futures.
And diamonds. It's not a big old move too.
It's a big mess up overhead on IWM that it gapped down. So to see if it gets into there.
AAP, looking
Hughes
for,
going for the gap fill for sure.
yeah. And alarms here. NVIDIA coming in again.